This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to another episode of Fat Acceptance Fridays. And yeah, this one didn't go up early enough for members because I'm still getting used to having to do Fat Acceptance Friday stuff early enough so that it can go up on Thursdays. So I'm sorry. But I do want to do this one from Nadya Nymph because this is Fat Acceptance thinks this is Resistance TikTok compilation. And I haven't watched it yet, but I know it's Nadia and I know it's good. So there's that. And also, yes, I know I have a thing for you. I know. Sit. 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 Wait a minute. It is the solstice, which I know. Can you wait 5 seconds? Let me say something first. It's my baby's birthday, okay? This little man here is going to be 7. I haven't even opened it yet. And for his birthday, I'm going to give him a little bit of this churro. It's not open yet. You want to just suck on it? It's not open. You want me to open it for you first? Anyway, so I thought I'd share a little bit of his birthday treat with you guys. He has more of a birthday treat. His sister also has a birthday treat, but she's not in here right now. Oh, God, now it's everywhere. Do you want it or not? It's on your face. Please don't get it on my mic. Oh my God. I think they make these things with crack. I'm sorry for the cat ASMR. Oh my God, dude. I never feed him, can you tell? Happy birthday to you. You live in a zoo. Oh my God. Here, can you at least do it in the camera? Get the other side too, thanks. All right, that's enough. I know, it's never enough. You want to get the stuff that's on my fingers? Thanks. Cool. All right, get back in your bed. Nope. Nope, you're going to knock my coffee over. Bed. Thank you. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Happy birthday. You can have more later. No, we're recording more videos. You can have more later. I know, it doesn't make any sense. I'm a cruel person. Lay down. Down. Lay down. All the way down. All 4 feet on the ground down. Nope, that's not laying down. Nope, that's the opposite of laying down. There's nothing else here. These are both of my hands. There's nothing in them. Okay? I know, it's a cruel, cruel world. Lay down. Stop. I love you. Happy birthday. That was a mistake. It was a mistake. And this is not going to end, is it? Stop. And another news, um, I think Rachel cursed me. My jawbones broke. So I now have to wear my big ass headphones. So I hope you're happy, Rachel. This is your fault. What do you guys have against my headphones anyway? I like my headphones. Leave me alone. They're big and they're pink and they're pretty. Meanies. All right, anyway, that was 5 minutes of cat ASMR. Happy birthday, Bobby. Now he's just irritated. Oh, we have a new background. That's pretty. Yeah, let's see. New background. Yay. All right, anyway. So, on this happy Friday, I hope you guys are enjoying it. It is 80 degrees outside. I have turned off my AC, so let's see how long this lasts with the lights blasting at full gear. And we do have the dot. The dot is there. So let's see how many people join the Gray Dot Club today. I do have a new camera. It is part of my like portable camera, portable recording thing. I don't know. I'm tempted to drag it out. But like the whole point is to not have to set things up constantly. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll just get a whole ass new camera. I don't know. Now I'm just rambling. Anyway, this is Nadya's new video. It's 13 minutes long. It is a day old as of today. We're going to speed it up though. And today is the solstice, obviously. It's June 20th. But there we go. And happy belated Juneteenth to those who celebrate. We are the countdown to the July 4th here in Philly. That's how this works here, apparently. I enjoy the fact that Philly celebrates Juneteenth. And like they do a thing where they like start celebrating July 4th on Juneteenth, June 19th. And so they celebrate Juneteenth all the way out to the 4th. Someday I'll actually sit down and do like a Juneteenth explanation for those of you who don't celebrate it, because I knew what Juneteenth was, but I didn't really realize that people like celebrated it until I got to this side of the country. So I'm sure there's a lot of people who A, probably don't even know what Juneteenth is, and B, don't even know that people celebrate it. But it is kind of like, it's like Juneteenth is like the day that it took. It's like the last day. I'm going to do this wrong. It's the day that it took for the Emancipation Proclamation to make it all the way to the furthest part of the country. I'm sure I did that wrong. Anyway, so that's why it's called Juneteenth. So there you go. Now you have my incredibly bad explanation for Juneteenth. Anyway, that's why we start celebrating July 4th here on June 19th. That was a very bad explanation. You should probably Google it. It's probably a better explanation. Anyway, maybe next year, because we've missed the day. So maybe next year I'll do a better explanation and we'll actually go out and like do some Juneteenth celebration stuff. But I was supposed to have my mom in town this weekend. So she was supposed to be here yesterday. And yeah, Delta fucked that up. So don't fly Delta. That's all I have to say with that one. And you can come for me if you want, but fuck Delta. So that's all I've got to say about that one. Anyway, this is Nadya Nymph. This is her most recent video. I think I've said that 3 times now. I do have her sped up. This is going to be a TikTok compilation. I like Nadya's stuff in general. I've been watching Nadya, I think, since her channel started, so I'm pretty excited about that. And I know some of you like don't like it when I react to other reaction channels, which I find very strange, because you don't have a problem with me reacting to like the lol cows, but like other reaction channels are off limits. Okay. But I'm going to react to Nadya anyway, because it does fall into the fat acceptance category. So if you don't like it when I do that, this, fair warning, this is going to be one of those style of videos. So, not your video this week, I guess. So there's that. And what else should I say? Oh yeah, we're like 50 subscribers away from 12K. So if you guys are interested in sponsoring another cat, we are 50 sponsor. Well, yeah, kind of, sort of. We're 50 subscribers away from 12K, and then we will be looking at the Beagle Freedom Project. Back, I think it was last year in February, they rescued a bunch of cats from a science research program. Basically, they were cats who were bred to be science experiments, and they rescued all of these cats, and they've basically been sponsoring and trying to find these cats homes. So if they still have cats, we will go and sponsor a cat from them. And if they don't, we'll find another program to sponsor a cat through. Sponsor, not adopt, sponsor. And we'll just sponsor a cat. But we'll start with the Beagle Freedom Foundation if they still have cats to sponsor. And if they don't, we'll find another program to sponsor a cat through. But either way, at 12K, we will be sponsoring a cat. And so yeah, we're 50 subscribers away from that. So tell a friend, tell your mom, tell your friend, tell your cousin. I think there's a joke there. I just don't know the joke, but here we are. And thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. I do have 3 levels of subscribers. Yep. Members, 3 levels of membership. I don't have a brain, unfortunately. And that's all we've got. So let's jump into this. I haven't watched it through yet, but I want to see the arguments, because Nadya usually puts together some really good compilations, and I do want to see what Fat Acceptance is calling resistance, because Fat Acceptance usually has some really bizarre takes on everything. And one of the things that I know fat acceptance has been kind of pushing of late, and it's probably not of late, it's probably been for a while, but the whole idea that gaining and maintaining high weight is resistance against the patriarchy and against modern culture, because modern culture wants us all to be skinny minis and the patriarchy wants us to be thin and that kind of stuff. So I know that that's an argument that fat acceptance has been pushing, is that basically being obese and ruining your health is somehow resistance against the patriarchy. And like, I guess maybe I don't agree with that at all, honestly, but I don't really see who's really winning by you ruining your health. So I want to hear these arguments myself, and I just kind of want to pick them apart. I know Nadya will have her own take on these things. Don't get me wrong. I don't always agree with everything Nadya has to say. Like most of the channels I listen to and I occasionally react to, I don't always agree with everything they have to say. Like, for example, Omegon here. I fucking love Omegon. I do not agree with everything the man has to say. Even my beloved Rachel here, who makes fun of my headset. She and I do occasionally disagree on things. That is part of why I like reacting to other reaction channels, is because we don't always agree on everything. And I think people hearing reaction channels cordially disagree with each other is part of having a healthy community. Of course, you're going to clean yourself while I'm on camera. Foot. Hi. Hang on. That's not your hair. That's my hair. Thank you. There you go. But I think it's part of creating a healthy community, especially when it comes to something like a commentary or a reaction community, because I think people, this is my personal opinion, I think people lose sight of what it's like to have the ability to disagree with one another without attacking each other. So I think it's important for the larger community to be able to hear reaction channels disagree with each other without attacking each other. That doesn't mean that I think I'm going to be watching this and being like, oh my God, I can't agree with anything Nadya has to say. I will probably agree with 90% of what Nadya is going to say in this. I might agree with everything Nadya has to say in this. So just letting you guys know. There might be a couple things I don't agree with. I may not agree. I may agree with everything she has to say. Just putting it out there. I just don't want people to be shocked if something comes up and I'm like, ooh, I don't agree with that take. So anyway, I just want to preface that. Anyhow, she is sped up to a time and a quarter. That was a 12-minute preamble, but in all fairness, 4 of that was me feeding my cat. So happy birthday, cat. All right, let's jump into this. Yeah, let's go.
Being fat is inherently anti-capitalist, but also
okay, sure. Right off the bat, how? How is over-consuming anti-capitalist? Go.
Also, being fat and being happy being fat makes conservative men very upset, and
okay,
that's also a plus.
Stay fat, princess.
TikTok activists are currently trying to convince people that obesity is
I actually have to slow her down. I'm sorry. All right, we're going to be doing this at normal speed, everybody. Dink. Let's go.
how you fight authoritarianism.
God, I hate when fucking... Okay. I'm not going to lie. Fat acceptance triggers the fuck out of me. I hate when they use eugenics, fat acceptance, and health at every size. I hate when they use eugenics as anything, because there is nothing in fat acceptance that even begins to line up with eugenics. So I think I have a video. I don't know where it is, but I think I have a video where it's like, fat acceptance needs to keep eugenics out of their damn mouths. And I stand by that video. I probably need to go watch that video, but I stand by that video right now.
I am sure you have noticed a real big upswing of like weight loss content, diet culture content, being thin is in, all of that shit has returned.
Yeah, I don't think it went anywhere, honestly. I think y'all just lived in a bubble.
The other thing that has returned is
share of young American men who say they identify with select hold for 2 times speed ideologies. Even if I had my glasses, I wouldn't be able to read that. A survey of 2002 18 to 29-year-olds conducted September 4th through the 16th, 2004. Who what? With select. I can't even read it. I can't even figure out what that word means. Let's go.
Is this like traditionalist conservative mentality, especially in Gen Z young men.
I have heard this. I have heard that the younger generations are identifying more with conservative ideologies, and I think there's a number of reasons for that, but I don't think this is the video really to get into that.
Just a heads up, it's kind of hard to talk about these things on YouTube, but I do want to have this conversation. But I'm going to try to keep it YouTube friendly. So if you hear me say the F word or Fism, I'm talking about the F word for extreme authoritarianism.
And the thing is it doesn't start out as blatant bigotry. One of the easiest entryway access points is health. Your boy Adolf did the same shit.
This is so slimy.
You have the duty to be.
What? Okay. What is that law? What is that law? The first one to bring up in Inziism loses the argument. What's that law? Let's go. Let's rock.
Be healthy. Food is not a private matter. A young German must be as swift as a greyhound, as tough as leather, and as hard as Krupp steel.
Do you even know what Krupp steel is?
A direct quote. More
Good for you. You can read. I'm sorry, I'm being a dick.
disciplined, fit, and trim. Is that starting to sound familiar?
No. What's your point? I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out what the hell you're talking about.
Argument she's trying to make right now could basically be reduced to, oh, so you think exercise is good? You know who else thought exercise was good?
Your boy Adolf.
It's pretty easy to.
You like dogs? Do you like dogs? You know who else like dogs? Just saying. You like khakis? You know who else like khakis? Just saying. You like the color blue? You know who else like the color blue? That suspiciously sounds like something, you know, who else would say.
Understand why this is a fallacy. Despite being one of the most evil people who ever existed, he also passed some of the first animal welfare laws. It doesn't matter who had that idea or for what reason, treating animals with respect and care is a good idea.
If you are at all confused on why it will repeat itself,
It's because of people like you who haven't actually studied history.
it is by design. And extremely rarely does it start out with the bad stuff.
There are literal programs in place by the United States government, the current administration, to separate people from their families and send them to foreign countries that they are not citizens of. And you want to fucking fight about health? Okay, let's rock.
And in fact, they will typically use fatness, body shaming, and body size as a way to dehumanize and demean the other. Because then it becomes a lot easier to move on to the bad stuff.
Nah, man, we just jump straight into the bad stuff. I mean, when it really comes down to demeaning and otherizing people, they just start off with your color of the skin. We don't have to start off with the amount of skin that you have. This is the United States, man. we don't bother with the little shit. We just jump straight in with both feet. I don't know where you're from. Maybe you're from Canada. I don't know. Maybe it's nicer there. I don't think so. But I'm just saying, here in America, we don't split hairs.
Earlier in this TikTok, she discussed that she believes the commingling of all different age groups on social media platforms creates the opportunity for young, impressionable minds to be manipulated.
And I know this is a direct result of like unfettered, unfiltered access to social media and how social media has just like funneled all of us into 4 apps. So you have adults and teenagers and children all commingling on these same apps.
I guess I'll just go into my corner now and shoot myself. I'm sorry, I didn't know that I, much like Socrates, am a bad influence on the younger generations. Where is my hemlock? Excuse me.
And it is the perfect storm for right-wing grifters and propaganda to be given on a silver platter to teenagers and children whose brains are not fully cooked.
I mean, we could make the same argument about left-wing grifters, but
They might be now.
I know someone's going to get pissy with me in the comments section about that one. I'm not here to talk politics. I'm just saying the same arguments that she's making about right-wing people can be made about the left wing, could also be made about the center, I suppose. I mean, I'm sure somewhere there's somebody who's a centrist who could be defined as a grifter, I'm sure. You don't usually hear too much about the center because they're usually the center. But again, not here really to talk politics, so really don't do it in the comment section. I probably won't respond to it. I'm just saying, like, these weird political comments that get made about one side versus the other are really reserved for other things. And I don't understand why we're trying so hard to force these conversations around fatness, because really at the end of the day, it doesn't matter which political party you belong to. Obesity does not give a shit. It's still bad for your health. And it doesn't really matter which political party you identify with. Heart disease is heart disease. Diabetes is diabetes. It doesn't care what party you belong to. It's still going to fuck your health up.
Now,
That environment she's describing is also perfect for fat acceptance grifters. She is an adult who is currently using her social media platform to convince people that exercise might be a gateway to evil, because you know who else valued exercise?
your boy Adolf. And for the 500 billionth time, this is not me saying, oh, be unhealthy, oh, whatever, dude. No, it is me telling you to read a fucking book. It is me wanting you to think critically, because the writing, unfortunately, has been on the wall for quite some time.
There's a great song about that called The Sound of Silence. I just, maybe you should listen to it.
This has been building, and it will continue to build unless we educate ourselves. Because it's way deeper than just...
Heather Heyer's parents are very fat people. Okay.
just being
I'm way out of the loop. Who is this person and why do I care how fat her parents are?
snatched. It really is.
It honestly doesn't matter how educated you are if you are too obese.
Tell me your most unhinged weight loss tip, babe. They're literally taking away our rights and throttling us into a Great Depression. Enjoy food now before it's gruel.
To take care of yourself. Prioritizing health and fitness is
Imagine living in a world, for a minute, just imagine living in a world where you think this is the most oppressive thing that could happen to you. Just imagine for a minute that this is the worst thing that is happening to you right now. Like, take this statement, apply it to the life that you are currently living, like all of the problems that you currently have. Imagine for a moment that this is the most pressing issue that you could have right now. I just want you to put shit into perspective for yourself.
actually the baseline to be able to fight oppression. And Jock Scientist actually doubled down on her scare
Oh, is this Jock Scientist? I didn't even recognize her.
tactics and posted this TikTok where she says, "Babe, they are literally taking away our rights and throttling us into a Great Depression. Enjoy food now before it's gruel."
This is a political cartoon from 1932. And
Do you understand the political cartoon from 1932? Do you understand the political climate from 1932?
And at this point in our history, eugenics is deemed a legitimate science. In fact, if you ever want to be, I don't know that it would be comforting at all, but if you want to go back and look at political illustrations from the early 1900s.
Do you understand the climate from the early? Okay. Things taken out of context and judged by the modern standards don't make sense because they're being judged by the modern standards without any context.
It will reflect a lot of the thinking that is happening right now in the United States.
Will it though? Does it? Out of context? Does it? Really?
And here's the thing, people are really scared right now. It is a weird time to be an American, but what she's doing isn't helping anybody. Something I have said for a long time, and I truly believe this. The highest form of protest is to take the best care of yourself that you possibly can.
Also, if you truly are afraid that eventually at some point you're going to have to run for the hills and live off the land and take care of yourself without help from outside sources, probably your best bet is to take the best care of yourself as you can, because you're going to have to depend on yourself and your own abilities. If you're sickly and you can't walk for more than 30 seconds and you're obese and you're on 5 different types of medication to keep your heart beating, your chances of surviving on your own are probably pretty slim. Just saying. Putting it out there.
If you are up against people, systems, institutions that are indifferent to you, you don't fight them by being indifferent to yourself. You make sure that you are looking after you. And that requires investing the time into figuring out what that actually means. But that is an investment that will pay off for the rest of your life.
Remember that the obsession with being skinny is like a fascist nationalist thing. So if you're not going to be skinny or don't have like the perfect summer body this summer, you're actually like super hot, fun, rebellious, and cool.
I'm going to slow that down and play it one more time.
Do you have to? Okay.
Remember that the obsession with being skinny is like a fascist nationalist thing. So if you're not going to be skinny or don't have like the perfect summer body this summer, you're actually like super hot, fun, rebellious, and cool.
I'm still pausing it on the exact same spot that I did last time. So if you are skinny and healthy and care about your body, then somehow you're a nationalist? Okay. But according to fat acceptance, being skinny is genetic. So if you are skinny, something mathematics, therefore being fascist and a nationalist is also genetic. So which is it? Is it a choice or is it genetic? And if it's genetic, is also then your political leaning then genetic? Because if the two of them are connected, then that would mean you don't have a choice in being a nationalist. And am I not allowed to say fascist? Can I not say that word now? YouTube? Am I not allowed to say basic words again? Anyhow, so if being skinny is genetic, because being fat is genetic, according to fat acceptance, if being fascist is connected to being skinny and skinny is genetic, therefore, logic loops, being fascist must also then be genetic. Yes, this is the logic loop. So, if it's genetic, I can't help it. Ergo, should we really be condemning people? This is the argument. I'm not saying it makes sense. I'm just saying this is the argument. Putting it out there. Think about these things. Think about these things to their most logical conclusion. I don't mean that they make sense. Logic doesn't have to make sense. That's the one thing I did learn taking my logic and my philosophy classes. Logic doesn't have to make sense.
I know skinny talk is getting traction right now, and some of what I have seen is super cringe, but so is this. It is one thing to push back against unrealistic body standards, but you can tell that
Depriving yourself pleasure is also a fash behavior. We can say fash. Okay, cool. Is a fash behavior. Eat the chocolate cake. Eat it with berries, nuts, and cheese cubes to balance it if you want to. Actually, chocolate cake with berries does sound good. Fun and joy and pleasure are also resistance. Okay, look, fun and joy and pleasure can be resistance to something, I'm sure. But fun and joy and pleasure does not mean that you have to be obese, out of shape, and unhealthy, right? Fun and joy and pleasure can mean a lot of things. And also, the ability to have fun and joy and pleasure kind of go in some ways hand in hand with being healthy. You need to be healthy enough to have fun, to experience joy, and to have pleasure, right? I'm not saying that you can't have a piece of cake. And personally, I like berries. And I know people who enjoy nuts. And I know a lot of people who like cheese. And there's no reason why you can't have a piece of cake and enjoy a piece of cake. There's no reason why you can't have some cheese and enjoy cheese, right? Berries. There's no reason why you can't have berries and enjoy them, right? You can have berries on your cake. That sounds delicious, actually. But if that's all you're eating, and if you're eating that to the point where you are gaining weight, or you're causing yourself to have health issues, are you really having fun? Are you really having joy? Is that really giving you pleasure? Because at this point, it sounds like you're self-medicating, and that's just your drug of choice, right? And typically, that's not joy. That's not pleasure. That's not fun. That's that's escapism, right? That's not any of these three things. That's actually dealing with misery. That's trying to deal with pain. That's none of those three things, right? So that's a cry for help. That's I need to go to the doctor. That's I need to talk to somebody. That's a completely different statement. That's not resistance. All right? I'm just saying. I'm just pointing this out. As I drink coffee. This is also my first coffee of the day. So at what time is it? 4:00 in the afternoon.
A lot of people are interpreting this as a moral license to neglect their health and glorify obesity, because that's how you're super hot, fun, rebellious, and cool.
You're actually like super hot, fun, rebellious, and cool.
We see
I don't see fat people as okay. That's gonna come out wrong. I don't see obesity as rebellious or cool. Okay? When I see somebody who is like Amberlynn or even somebody who's like Anna, I don't see somebody who I think is rebellious and cool. I see somebody who needs help, right? When I see somebody like Sal's like, if you don't know who Sal is right now, Sal is this guy who started off at 700 and a half pounds, 750 some odd pounds. He is nowhere near that right now, but he is still morbidly obese. Caveat. Sal's gotten himself down to, I think somebody told me I'm behind on Sal right now. But somebody told me he got himself down to like 500. He's like under 500 pounds at this point. I think he's under 500 pounds. I know this much, but he's still morbidly obese, right? And if you saw him, he's still visibly morbidly obese, right? So if you saw him out on the street in the wild, you would still see a morbidly obese man, right? And you would still just with no context, just be like, damn, right? And so that still, for me, I would still not see somebody who is like happy. I would still not see somebody who is rebellious. I would still not see somebody who is like super cool, super hot, you know? If I were to sit down and talk with somebody like Sal, and he would then be like, yeah, I used to be 750 pounds. And now I'm training for a triathlon, which I think is what he's currently doing. You know, and he'd be like, yeah, and I've dropped like, you know, 2 whole humans off of my body mass, you know, then you're like, oh, okay, well, that's a whole other story. But then, you know, you talk to somebody like Amberlynn, who's like, yeah, over the past 11 years, I've gained a whole person and a half, you know, or you talk to somebody like Anna, who's like, yeah, I've had 4 lipedema surgeries and I've gained an entire person. You know, that's rebellion. That's not healthy. These are not people I want to emulate. Sal, maybe. I mean, definitely Sal. But just visually, these are not people that you don't look at these people and you're not like, oh, wow, cool. I want to be that guy when I grow up. You know? Sal, yeah. But again, you have to talk to Sal to get the context of Sal's story in order to understand why Sal's cool. If you just saw Sal sitting there doing, just being Sal for a day, you wouldn't understand why Sal is important, right? Kind of a deal. It's that kind of a thing. I'm like, everybody, I'm not trying to take Sal's success away. I just want people to understand the context of seeing Sal just sitting on a bench, right? And Sal is perfectly aware of this. It's not like I'm trying to take something away from him. Sal is very aware of his situation. The difference is, if Sal keeps up the way he's going, and there's no reason why he wouldn't. He's got a beautiful support group around him. He's got a wonderful attitude about this. He seems to have the fire in the belly. A year from now, if he keeps going, he's probably going to drop, God, at least another 100, if not another 200 pounds. So he's going to be down, 400 pounds. He's going to visibly be much, much smaller. It's going to be that kind of a thing. And that's going to be the difference, right? So that's the difference between Sal and everybody else, right? Visibly, you will be able to see that Sal has improved versus the girls who never change. Like they don't even gain anymore. They just kind of stay in stasis. Amberlynn kind of bloats up every once in a while, but I don't really think she's gaining. I think she just bloats. Same thing with Anna. I don't really think Anna gains weight so much as she just bloats, kind of a thing. So, but that's my point. Like, and that's the other thing. Like, you can see in Sal's just overall expressions and stuff, at least in the videos that he puts out, like, Sal has a glow to him, I guess is the best way of putting it, where he looks happy. Like, he actually looks happy versus Anna and her fake happiness, and Amber, and sometimes she tries to be fake. She tries to pretend like she's happy about shit, that kind of a thing. April Lauren and her weird fake happiness that is just kind of creepy. All of them just need therapy. Kind of a thing. But that's, again, the difference. Sal has an actual support group around him who are, like, I just watched a short today of him doing hill sprints. I almost cried, man. That was just like this is better than cat videos. He's just sprinting up and down the hill, and you can hear it's his cousin or somebody in his background who's just giving him encouragement to just keep running. And it's just like, and he's not even running fast, man. It's not even like he's like all out, killing it or anything, but he is moving, and that's the important part. He's going up the hill, and he's just running in between these two cones. And I'm not trying to downplay it, because it's really not something to downplay. But I think the most important part of it is the guy in the background who's just telling him, keep going, keep going, keep going. You're doing it. Keep going, keep going. He's using another language. But the point is he's encouraging Sal to keep going. And Sal just keeps going. Like, you can tell he's miserable, but he's still going, and he's getting up and down this hill, right? And that's the difference. Sal has somebody in the background who's telling him, keep going, keep going, keep going. And so Sal keeps going because he's got somebody who's cheering him on, who's encouraging him to keep going. And the girls don't have that. That's the difference. The girls don't have somebody standing behind the camera telling them, keep going, keep going. They have somebody who buys them food, who takes them to the grocery store, who runs them to the emergency room every time they have a little ache or a little pain. Anna doesn't even have that. She has a bunch of doctors who see her as a cash cow, who keep providing her with surgeries and telling her, oh yeah, you have no more burnable fat on your body. They have people who feed into the delusions, and that's why they're never going to get any better. They have enablers. Sal doesn't have that. Sal doesn't have somebody in his corner who's like, oh man, don't worry. It's just unburnable fat, man. You're fine. You're fine the way you are. Don't worry about it. Sal has a good grasp on reality. That's the difference. Sal doesn't think him being 750 pounds is somehow, rebelling against the man. Sal's like, no, I'm going to die. And I don't want to die. and he's got a good group of people around him who are like, yeah, we would really prefer you not die. And that's the difference. He doesn't have jock scientist over here telling him that, something, something fatness, eugenics, something, something stay fat, princess. He doesn't have whoever this weirdo was who was icing cupcakes telling him that by being fat, he's hot and rebellious, because it's not hot and it's not rebellious. Right. Anyway, I've been ranting. Let's go.
See a lot of moral licensing from fat acceptance. Whenever they are taking on some
Says, what is moral licensing? Moral licensing is a theory which states that when you do a good deed, your subconscious mind thinks that you have earned the license to do a bad deed. Like when you donate $100 to a children's foundation, you are less likely to donate $1 to a homeless man. And then it fades out and I can't read the rest.
a moral identity or stance in order to justify a behavior they would usually get criticized for. That is moral licensing.
Whether it's a choice or not, being fat is inherently
Says being fat is anti-capitalist. Being fat is inherently anti-capitalist. So you just said the same thing twice. Go.
anti-capitalist. Anytime you do anything that is anti-thin, anti-diet culture,
It's just saying what she's saying.
it's anti-capitalist.
All of a sudden, you get to frame poor choices as virtuous because you're not neglecting your health, you're fighting the patriarchy, fighting capitalism. Never.
Explain to me how being fat is anti-capitalist. Truly, explain to me how over-consuming is anti-capitalist. I want to hear this argument. I want to hear detailed this argument. Explain to me rationally how the overconsumption of foodstuffs to the point of obesity is anti-capitalism. Go.
Never mind that fat acceptance is basically a direct extension of capitalism.
Whether it's one single time or it's a lifestyle. But also, being fat and being happy being fat makes conservative men very upset, and that's also a plus.
Explain to me how exactly conservative men, the amorphous blob that is conservative men, apparently, why they care that you, the individual, is fat. I'm assuming a fat woman because we didn't specify, but I'm going to go out on a limb. Why the amorphous blob that is conservative men give two shits that you, the apparently non-conservative fat woman, exist and exist as fat, and why that upsets them. Again, I'm not talking politics. I don't care. Really don't give a shit where you fall on the political line because it really doesn't actually matter. Because I'm pretty sure the amorphous blob of conservative men, there's probably a spectrum, and some of them probably do actually care that women in general are fat. And there are probably men within the conservative amorphous blob that don't give a shit. And there are probably men within that blob that are gay and don't care in general. There are gay conservative men, believe that one or not. I don't care. You might even be one of them. Believe it or not, there are people on a spectrum who exist on a spectrum. I know it's hard. It's mind-boggling. There's not this thing. There's not like black and white. There's gray. I don't know why that's so hard for people to understand. Anyway, again, not talking politics. I'm just pointing out this black and white thinking that I find a lot of times. This is one of the reasons why I can't do politics on the internet, because it's just like it's black or it's white. There is no in between. And it's mind-boggling to me how people are so, you're either with us or you're against us. There is no conversation to be had in between. And it's impossible to talk to people. And that's why I just cannot have conversations about politics on the internet, because it is fucking possible to talk about things on the internet when it comes to politics and a lot of other topics. So again, this is why I like reacting to other reactors, because sometimes it's really important to show that you can have a conversation and not necessarily agree with every fucking thing somebody says. Anyway.
Even if you really believe this, it's like cutting your nose to spite your face.
Spider face.
You're really gonna gamble with your health and future as some kind of protest towards people that you don't like?
That's why when I say that the diet industry is man-made, I mean that it is made in order to keep you distracted, hungry, and focused on how you look. It profits the patriarchy and feeds, pun intended, capitalism.
The whole point is just to...
How? I need a chart. I need the strings. I need the pins. I need, what's his name, doing this. I need this. I need to know.
To position fat acceptance as righteously opposed to these evil establishments and institutions. So if we're critiquing them, are we aligning ourselves with the patriarchy or capitalism or the F word?
I genuinely believe that in this glorious year of 2025, it is borderline radical and at the very...
Okay, first off, if those are her actual eyelashes, good job. Those are fucking beautiful. Anyway, go.
least, an embodied political statement to be fat, chubby, plus-sized, curvaceous.
You are thin. Okay, first off, I get pissy when people who are roughly as thick as my wrist are telling me to stay fat. Go gain yourself 100 pounds and then tell me to stay fat. I'm just saying. There's just something incredibly hypocritical about somebody who's roughly the thickness of my wrist being like, stay fat, princess. How about you get fat first and then tell me to stay fat? Because otherwise, what are you talking about? No offense. I mean, yeah, maybe some, but like, you're not fat. What's in it for you to tell me to stay fat? I don't get it. This is weird. It's a weird argument. I don't get it.
Whatever you want to call it.
It's very somebody who appreciates larger people not wanting said larger people to lose weight, but to maintain and if not gain said weight. Fun times.
Nobody has to explain their decision to remain overweight or obese. But calling it an embodied political act, it is ridiculous, and extra ridiculous when it's coming from someone so petite and fit. She doesn't look like someone who knows what it's like to be immobilized by her own body weight. And to be fair, I don't know what that's like either. But here she is telling other people that that is radical liberation. These are not your friends.
The idea of...
These are not your friends. These are not people who have your best interests in mind. They aren't. This is not your friend. This is not your friend talking to you. No, Nadya is correct. This is not your friend. This is not someone who can understand what it's like to be 200 pounds, let alone immobilized at 400, 500, 600 pounds, right? This person does not have that idea. Maybe, once upon a time, this person was massively overweight. That is a possibility, I suppose. But if they were, and they are now this weight, which is easily half my size, excuse me, why are they now half my size and telling me to stay fat? If being fat is great, right? It doesn't make sense, right?
of being thin is being sold to all of us in one way or another.
But you are thin.
And so I say that being fat, for example, is an embodied political statement because you are living resistance against the culture.
So what are you doing then? If being fat is resistance, is an embodiment of resistance against the current political culture, what are you? Okay? If you believe that, and this person, and you are maintaining your thinness, this person, what does that mean about you? Okay. Let's turn this weird statement that you're making back around on yourself. Are you currently actively trying to gain weight? Like, are you currently in this moment trying to put weight on? Because I know there are some people that struggle to put on weight. Let's be real. I am perfectly aware that there are some people that do actually struggle to gain weight. I understand that. My best friend was like that. I do know that that's a real thing. So maybe this person does have that problem. I don't know. And maybe that's part of the issue. Possibly. But like having someone like this make a statement like they're making is just very strange, very odd, and it sounds really hypocritical.
You are living resistance.
Obesity, living resistance, won't so much as acknowledge you when you pass away from an illness related to it.
I forget who that creator was, but she literally made a video about how she was running out of time to lose weight and it really scared her, and then she literally passed away like right after she made that video.
When you convince women that they have to lose weight, that doesn't just impact their self-esteem. When you tell them that they have to take up less space, they literally do take up less space.
You know what? I understand why like all of my elders were like so fucking like infuriated with me when I was this age.
And what do I mean by that? It won't just make your body and mind weaker. It'll make you weaker as a whole.
Okay.
It'll prevent you from reaching your fullest potential.
Okay.
It'll keep you still. It will demobilize you.
Okay.
She definitely meant to say immobilize, because to demobilize is to release someone from active duty. This one is pretty infuriating. One of the main
I don't know. Maybe she did mean demobilize. Maybe she sees fatness as a type of like army of some variety, and she means like she's going to demobilize the fat Marines.
reasons people try to downsize is to recover their mobility. I think this person is a really good example of the difference between nice and kind. The way that was always explained to me was a nice person will see you on the side of the road and say, "Oh man, that sucks. Good luck." Whereas a kind person might give you a little bit of a hard time. They might be like, "What'd you do, dummy?" But they're also going to actually try to assist you.
So, people from Philly? I love people from Philly. They're like, they're so mean, but they will help you out. All the while telling you how stupid you are. Hey, you're a dumbass. Here, let me change your tire for you, dumbass. Thanks. What'd you do, dumbass? Run over a piece of glass? Dumbass. Here, let me change your tire. Thanks. Philly's great. It's got a lot of problems, but Philly's great.
Whip out your woke card. Stay fat, princess.
You're living on a beach. You're sitting on a tropical beach. You're roughly the thickness of my wrist. And you're telling me to stay woke? Come on, man. Could you at least change, like, the setting? I'm just saying, optics. Just optics. You're in a tropical paradise telling me to stay woke. Just saying. Optics. You don't see me sitting here in my apartment in front of my fake tropical doorway of books telling people to stay woke because it would be weird. Okay?
I think she thinks she's being nice.
As one last example, telling someone a hard truth they don't want to hear can be the kind of thing to do because it will be better for them in the long term, but it is often not a nice thing to do because it will cause them pain in the short term. I don't know what that's an example of.
With this weird comforting lie that she's telling people.
You just take that lie and wrap it around yourself like a warm blanket.
But she's
I loved King of the Hill.
not the one who suffers for believing the lie. She actually gets clout for it because there is a collective narcissism here where people who identify with fat acceptance feel superior just for that fact.
It'll all work out.
When you mention how the rise of weight loss is a symptom of fascism to your friend who goes to slimming world. Let me read that one more time.
when you mention how the rise of weight loss is a symptom of fascism to your friend who goes to Slimming World. Look, weight loss has been a thing since the Victorian era, if not before. People, not just women, people would literally swallow tapeworm larvae in order to lose weight. Willingly. Not accidentally. Willingly. Swallow tapeworms in order to lose weight. As a matter of fact, I believe that's like a thing again. Anyway, don't do that. That's a bad thing to do. Please don't do that, ever. Bad thing. Don't do it. My point is, the extremes that which people would go to in order to lose weight has been a thing for a very long time. All right? The shit people will pull today to lose weight is pretty typical of historically what people will do to lose weight. Not just women. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of pressure on women. Has always been a lot of pressure on women historically to lose weight overall. There's a lot of pressure on men, not only to be slim, but also to be muscular. And I feel like that's kind of grown with time because of these really unrealistic expectations of muscularness in men, especially with the rise of like, what are those things? Steroids. Because if you look at like the Mr. Universe bodybuilders from like back when it very first started up to like the guys who are like competing today, huge fucking differences between like natty and not natty. I'm just saying. But the point is like, this is not a new phenomena, but it is a thing that has existed for a very long time, right? And it's just kind of interesting watching like the 20 and the 30 somethings become aware of it, I guess. Like it's just finally hitting their radar. And it's very interesting watching each generation kind of become aware of the fact that this is a thing and that it's always been there, and it's just always kind of been in the back of their heads that, oh my God, I gotta lose weight, I gotta be thin, I gotta la la la. And I think there is a point where it is unhealthy. Obviously, there's a point where you are too thin, like you are too obsessed with losing weight. You are overly obsessed with the idea of thinness versus the idea of health, right? And you can be too obsessed with the concept of health. Like there's a whole word for it that escapes my mind because I don't have that problem. Ortho something, or is it orthorexia? Something like that. Anyway, but there's also like the point where I think most people are at where they're just wanting to be healthy. They just want to be healthy. They don't even want, like most women don't even really want to be muscular. They just want to be healthy. They want to be able to like walk when they're 60. They want to be able to have balance in their older ages. Like that's kind of my goal at this point. I don't need to be Sarah Connor. Wouldn't turn it down, but like that's really kind of, oh, magical pill? Sure. But like at this point, I would just like to not fall down when I'm 60 and bust a hip. You know, I would just like to be able to walk of my own volition when I'm 80, assuming I make it to 80, kind of a thing. It's just that I would like to give my older self the best chances of not having to, you know, worry about osteoporosis or powdering my vertebra when I sneeze, kind of a thing, right? That's my goal right now versus like not making it to 60. You know, like I have like a really rough chance of making it to 60 in general. I'd like to give myself a fighting chance, right? And it doesn't have anything to do with my obesity, right? I just have like a really rough chance of like family history of even making it there. I'd like to give myself a better chance. It's just kind of one of those things. You get people like this who probably don't have like the family health history that I have, and they're just fucking themselves for no reason. And they're calling it resistance. And it's just like, but why? But why? You don't need to do this to yourself. Anyway, I'm just rambling at this point.
It's only politics. And what has that got to do with us?
That TikTok says, when you mention how
Another fat NB outfit from every angle to fight the growing fat phobia and fash in this country. We can say fash. We all know what fash means. All right, cool. I still like having full words, but that's just my age showing, I guess.
how the rise of weight release is a symptom of Fism to your friend who goes to Slimming World. And this line from Cabaret is supposed to be her friend's response.
It's only politics. And what has that got to do with us?
It's a musical where the rise of Fism is one of the main themes. So basically, we either agree with her or we're just as clueless as this person from the music Cabaret. One of the more amusing aspects of this rhetoric is
I haven't seen Cabaret in a hot minute.
we have a lot of fat activists here taking correlation pretty seriously.
When two things are correlated.
Oh my God, I hate this woman so much. Hate's a very strong word. Let me reframe that. Oh my God, this woman annoys me so much. That's more realistic.
It means that they're happening
I thought she dropped off the planet though.
at the same time. It does not mean that one thing is causing the other thing.
This TikTok says, made a comment about the rise of thinness culture in correlation to the rise of Fism, and some girly was like, but cardio is good for you.
Okay, first off, the rise of thinness culture is always been there. And I can't really comment about the rise of fascism because I'm not entirely sure again about that one because again, not here to talk politics, and I know that has been a point of conversation politically for at least the past, I want to say 8 if not 12 years at least. Yeah, I want to say at least 12 years, if not like 16. I'm going by like US presidential eras. I don't know about the rest of the world because again, my political awareness is basically US based. So I know outside the country there's been a lot of talk about that. Again, not trying to talk politics in the comment section. Unfortunately, there's a lot of talk about it in this because they are trying to connect fat acceptance with politics. So this is a little tricky because of that. But like the rise of fascism in general, there is no correlation between it and fat acceptance. There just is not, in my opinion. You can argue with me if you want, but there just isn't. So I will either ignore you or I will tell you you're wrong. Sorry to shut that conversation down before it happens. But the point is like the overall rise of fascism politically worldwide has been a topic of conversation. I know, at least here in the US, for probably, if like I said, somewhere between 16 to 12 years. Fat acceptance has been around for a while. The concept of skinniness and the pressure on women, especially to be skinny, has again existed since like Victorian era. Again, there's not even a correlation there in my opinion, honestly. So the fact that the fat acceptance generation, I guess we could really put it this way. The generation that is driving fat acceptance and health at every size becoming aware of fascism, I guess is what's really happening here. That might be correlating because that generation is finally becoming old enough to be politically aware enough to understand that fascism is a thing. And they might be becoming aware of the global rise or the global fear of fascism. Maybe that's what's really happening. That might be a correlation, but that doesn't mean that there is a correlation between global skinnyism, or if we're I'm gonna make words up too, and fascism, because those two things are not correlated. There's a correlation between fat acceptance, people becoming aware of the political atmosphere. Yeah. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. But anyway, my point is, and them being part of fat acceptance. But that doesn't mean the two things are actually correlated.
The relationship between weight and health is correlational.
No, that's not true at all. The relationship between weight and health is not correlational. They are directly linked.
Not causal.
Yes. Yes, they are. That's the word I was looking for. They are directly causal. But anyway, go on.
Seems like correlation really only matters when fat acceptance is trying to make a point. And again, nobody has to explain their decision to stay obese.
Look, I have friends who are overweight. Okay, let me put it this way. I have friends who are overweight. And those overweight friends are overweight in a way that they choose to stay that way because they are comfortable, or they just don't see a need to change. It doesn't bother them, whatever. And I choose not to, it doesn't affect me directly, therefore I don't need to be after them about it, right? If that comes out that weird way. So, no, an individual's choice to stay fat is their own individual choice, right? So I guess in that aspect, no one needs to justify why they want to be or stay fat in that aspect, I guess. But when it comes to when you're fat enough that you start having major health issues and you start complaining about said major health issues, I was going to say fat issues, but I guess at that point, if you're going to be like, oh my God, I've got diabetes, or oh my God, my whatever's shutting down, and it's related to being obese, I mean, and you're not going to not be obese, I mean, I guess at that point, yeah, you kind of do have to justify it, because like, if your doctor says, hey, lose weight, and you're like, nah, I'm not going to do that, I guess you kind of do have to explain it at that point, because it's like, well, you know what you need to do to get better, and you're not going to do it. So I guess you either need to quit complaining about it or explain why you're not going to do it. I guess. I don't know. That's my opinion on the matter. But I guess if you're just going to like live your life and not say anything, I mean, there's a lot of people that do that. There's a lot of people who just like, yeah, fuck it. And they just live their life. That's your decision, I guess. But don't like, don't like be huge and fat and then bitch about your fat related health issues, because it's like, okay, but you know what you can do to fix it. It's like a smoker complaining about having like bad lungs. Well, quit smoking. I'm not going to do that. Well, then shut up about your bad lungs. Those are your choices. I don't understand. Anyway, I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about it.
They could just say nothing. These fat activists could not even imagine what
Sorry, I almost dropped that. I have a theory that, quote, skinny talk celebs on Ozempic and the rise of pro-ana content is really just a psyop meant to convince people to starve themselves in order to ration food for the rich and troops in the event of World War III. You cannot convince me otherwise. What? I have a theory that skinny talk, comma, celebs on Ozempic, I'm assuming a comma, and the rise of pro-ana content is really just a psyop meant to convince people to starve themselves in order to ration food for the rich and troops troops. So we're going to feed the troops at least. I guess go join the military in the event of World War III. You will not convince me otherwise. Okay, well, all I have learned from this then is, since I am not rich, I need to go join the military? And then I will apparently get fed? What? What? You understand that pro-ana content has been around since like... Oh, Jesus. It was around when I was a kid. Like, that's the first time I ever heard that, and I was a kid a long time ago, you guys. So, okay. Skinny talk is, well, I mean, TikTok's a new thing, so skinny talk obviously is a new thing. Ozempic and celebs being on Ozempic. Celebs have been on any fucking thing that will keep them skinny. Okay? So, whatever. Pro Anna? Do you guys understand how long Pro Anna has been around? Do you really understand how long that shit's been around? Okay. I don't think the average person is starving themselves, considering, what is it, like somewhere around 70 some odd percent of the United States is classified as, if not overweight, obese. The average sized woman in the United States is somewhere between a 14 and a 16. I don't think we have that problem. That's not an issue. So I don't know what you're talking about. The rich? Do you understand most of the rich are smaller than the not rich, right? You understand the richer you are, the more likely you are to not be obese? Okay, but we're rationing food for the rich. And typically active troops in most branches are required to not be obese or overweight, because if they are, then they get rationed. My family's military on both sides. So, unless things have changed, just putting that out there. Just, I don't have kids, so, but my nephews are all active military, so, just saying. Long-standing history of a Blue Star family over here. I'm just saying. What are we talking about? Don't get me wrong, I don't think World War III isn't going to happen. I just don't know, like, what are we talking about? Like, is it happening next week? Was I not informed? I mean, maybe, I don't know. People are out there doing all kinds of weird shit lately, so I've been outside of the news loop for a very long time. I don't, maybe World War III did start. I've missed it. It's entirely possible, but what? Oh, fat acceptance.
True fascism is. But if they pretend that this is something they're really resisting,
I do like whatever this is. Is this a dress or a shirt? I'm enjoying whatever this outfit is, though. I will say that.
then they get to view themselves as noble and try to convince others of the same thing. Be for real. Before we go, we are going to check in with Zeolita.
Okay, I'm not going to watch this part only because, like, I think this is, Nadya does this thing at the end of her videos where she checks in with people on health journeys, just as like a little, like, not fat acceptance. Just as like a happy ending, typically. I think, actually, let's check in on. Okay, okay, typically, I was gonna say, normally Nadya tries to put something positive at the end. Usually it's somebody who's like on a weight loss journey, who's like hitting milestones or something like that. So, obviously this doesn't look like it's gonna be that. So we're still gonna skip it anyway. I will put this video down at the bottom. I'll put the video link down in the description. If you guys want to go watch it, I highly recommend going to watch it. Give it a thumbs up, give it a like. If Nadya is something that you enjoy, definitely give her a follow. She's got like almost 30K subscribers, so it's not like she needs a bump from me, but if you're going to go over there and you're going to watch the video anyway, you may as well subscribe. It's a really good channel. She puts out pretty decent content, in my opinion, and I really like her content, actually. As far as she does mostly fat acceptance, I think she pretty much only does fat acceptance stuff. But she does put together some really good videos. She does some deep dives occasionally. She's done some of her older stuff that she's done that is really, really good. She's done like the history of the fat acceptance movement in the US, and yeah, and some other really, really good deep dives. But there's some of her older videos, so definitely check out her backlogs as well. And she just does, I just really like her stuff. Also, she has a beautiful voice, so her stuff is really easy to listen to. If you ever just want to like put something on and just let it play in the background, her stuff is just very good for that. But yeah, definitely go check her stuff out. The link will be down in the description down below. And that's pretty much all I've got to say about that. So, I know I just kind of went off, but fat acceptance just, it sets me off like this. And this is why, because they're just fucking ridiculous. And their claims are just absolutely, they're not grounded in reality. And they're just absolutely insane to me sometimes. And I know that somebody's going to be offended that I say these things, but like, if you just sit down and listen to them with a rational thought in your head, they don't hold water at all. And I don't even understand how they gain the traction that they do other than TikTok. And this is why I don't go on TikTok, because it's just like, it's got to be the short attention span theater of TikTok, because otherwise this shit just doesn't make sense. If you sit down and you give it any amount of actual rational thought, it doesn't make sense. But that's the problem. It's like, at least here in the States, again, I can only speak to the United States because that's where I'm from. Like, we have done our damnedest to get critical thinking out of our classrooms, and it shows. It really shows. I mean, I hate to be old like this, but god damn it, you guys. Come on. We're teaching people pro-Anna so that they will starve themselves so we can ration food to the rich and the troops for World War III. What the hell? Are you serious? Where did that even come from? That's like some ancient alien shit, man. Like, come on. Anyway, if you've made it this far in the video, put I don't know, put a cake. There's got to be a cake. Put a cake down as your emoji. Cake or berries, because I'm stuck on cake with berries. Down in the comments section. Let me know what you guys think down there. Again, I know this was a very like politically adjacent style video. I understand that some of these topics were very like entwined. Let's try, please, to keep the politics to a minimum. I don't really care what your leanings are, but I do know that there were some things that were like very politically entwined. So let's try to be respectful. I know I probably said a couple things that probably didn't come off that way, but I apologize ahead of time. But please, let's try to be respectful down in the conversation section, in the comments section, because I know some people. I know I have viewers on both sides and in the middle, so let's just try to be somewhat respectful of people's political opinions down in the comments section, please. I just really don't want to talk politics. Is really what it comes down to. This isn't a political channel. But I do know that there was a lot of shit that kind of is politically adjacent here. Excuse me. That's really all I'm asking. I don't want any like political speeches. I don't want any like political propaganda, whatever. For either side, any side, I don't care. And that's all I'm really asking from you guys. But do have conversations. Do let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know what you guys think of Nadya. I know several of you do watch Nadya. Obviously, she's got 30K subscribers. So let me know if you guys watch Nadya at all. I think I pretty much said what I'm going to say as I went over it. I have words, I promise you. And that's all I've really got to say to you guys. So again, your emojis are going to be cake or berries. Happy birthday to my little boy. Where are you? Oh, I was sweeping. Happy birthday to my little boy. Like, why did you wake me up? And I will see everybody in the next video. This
Bye.
is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.